your assets.
We can crack the wallet.
Oh, we've done it before.
We've got rigs, character adversary, attribution mode
with our private keys combined.
Building some kind of blockchain super weapon.
There's just a number of vulnerabilities that are in the smart contracts.
Math. It's probably scary.
They all secretly mine cryptocurrency.
What coin can I trust? Which one is cryptographically secure?
Don't roll your own crypto. CoinSec Podcast. Hey, welcome to the CoinSec Podcast. Whoa.
On point today. There we go.
Are we sure we can afford
intro.
that?
I know.
Because I think we're going bankrupt.
Yeah.
we will pour you up.
We just need the new button, which will be BitConnect.
FTX.
FTX.
Should make our own. Yeah, make our own
Yeah.
FTX.
Yeah.
So what's the problem? Is Taylor Swift tickets worth more than crypto now? Is that the problem?
Yeah,
that's a
actually.
fact. In fact, if I could get some Tasteway tickets, I could get out of this depression. You know what I mean?
The price of one Taylor Swift ticket is actually over the price of Bitcoin right now.
It's crazy.
True.
Yeah.
So this is the FTX episode, right?
Yeah, pretty much, man.
Yeah.
This is the just watching the train wreck unfold in podcast real time.
I honestly just want to be like, just tell me more. Just tell.
It's almost as bad as the Twitter downfall.
Well, I think the biggest difference is that like it's not as public. The FTX stuff is less public. It is public in some ways, but Twitter is so like Elon's literally like firing people on Twitter. Like, like it's
Oh, you better not
FTX.
speak out against Elon.
Yeah, dude.
Listen,
You're gonna lose
How many
your Twitter account.
RPCs does a Twitter update take?
listen, 1,000 in the background. Which is that even true? Like some engineers like this isn't true, and Elon's like, okay, I'll just turn off all the microservices, and then anyway, different topic.
It's still both dumpster fires.
Two dumpster fires. We're going to cover one because it's cryptocurrency related.
Yep.
The other dumpster fire is for a different podcast.
That's a good point. Well, welcome to episode 71 for the CoinSec Podcast here. If you want to follow along with the show notes, they are up at coinsecpodcast.com. I'm going to throw them in the live chat channel in our Discord. We've got a lot to talk about today, mainly FTX. So if you haven't seen,
you're under a
something
rock.
happened. To
If
FTX.
you have your money in FTX, let me just say I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And if you're hearing this for the first time, we apologize. That this is where
We're
you're getting
double sorry in that case.
your news from. However, some crazy stuff went down. It's actually kind of a fascinating story, I think, if we walk through the entire thing. But basically, the gist is FTX is they were the top. I think they're the second biggest exchange in the world, right? You had Binance, and then you had FTX.
I thought we had Coinbase. I think we're like 4.
I think
right?
it's.
That
I
doesn't
think they
matter.
were like number
top.
4, but the numbers are made up and they don't
Yeah,
matter.
they don't
They
matter.
were quite. They were.
Obviously.
Well, that actually comes into play even more because the numbers were actually made up. Like
Yes.
they had,
So they're not in no way. They are big. They are big for sure, but they're not like some tiny exchange in like China that's just doing like, sketchy stuff.
yeah.
We
the
don't
big
know
thing to
how
take
big now. All the numbers are made up, especially now. But
Yeah.
like they were big. This is like a reputable. Well, supposedly this. Okay, it's Enron.
This is going downhill.
This is
fast.
Enron, yeah. I
It's
know. We're
Enron.
trying to
Spokesman.
explain it.
It's Enron.
Like, how can
It's
you not like love to trust and follow everything Tom Brady says?
Because
Well, I do. I've followed him. My investments have just followed Tom Brady around. Right now, I'm investing in gravy.
Ooh, classic.
Just
I mean-
gravy futures.
With
Futures.
World War III on the horizon here, that's probably not a bad idea.
Mm.
So
I mean, the world can't function without gravy. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. So what was the smoke?
Yeah. Where
What was
the
the
smoke? Yeah,
smoke?
keep
The
going,
smoke
Bo.
started
We
by-
slowed you down.
So okay. If correct me if I'm wrong here, but the smoke didn't come from FTX. The smoke came from Binance. Correct.
Yeah. So I think
I think it was a
prior
little
to
before that, right?
Yeah, a little bit before that. So there was a let's see, the catalyst for the crisis was November 2nd. So CoinDesk actually revealed that Alameda Research, the quant trading firm also run by Sam Bankman-Fried, held a position worth $5 billion in FTT, which is that's the native FTX token. Okay. Now, the report revealed that Alameda's investment foundation was also an FTT, the token that its sister company had invented, not a fiat currency or other cryptocurrency. So that prompted some concern, right? So that was like the initial
okay. So let's take couple steps. Let's break that down. Number one, who is Sam Bankman-Fried?
You can just I don't know a better way to describe him than just like CEO of FTX.
A young lad.
Yeah,
young lad. Yep.
A young lad who has a lot to lose.
Zero experience managing money.
Okay, way to bring in the negative, Steve.
So what did
great hair?
Yeah, great hair.
What did CoinDesk say exactly? They said that
So they said that Alameda Research, which is it's like a sister company to FTX.
Yeah, okay, I heard that. Yes.
Right?
So they discovered basically this is like saying, okay, where's all of our money? Well, our money's invested in our own product,
in our own token. Yeah.
It's basically saying like
they asked they asked FTX where all their money was, and they said it's all in this token.
Well, they didn't ask. They just they discovered this. They basically
sleuthing. Sleuthing.
Yeah, it's sleuthing. So someone's doing
good
like
old-fashioned internet sleuthing.
Everywhere in the world when these crises unfold, it's always someone looking at the books and being like, "Huh, that doesn't add up." So like basically, this would be like the equivalent of you go to the bank, you ask them, "Where's my money?" And they just point and say, "This building is your money. This building is the money. If you want your money, we're gonna have to sell this building." And then you're like, right. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. Didn't I give you money in like dollars? And they're like, oh yeah, but we actually see. So it's a whole thing, financial vehicle. We converted it, and like that's where that's just
we give you these magic beans.
Yeah. So I think just for context, an exchange typically, right, like a crypto exchange, if I give them some dollars, right, they will hold that dollar, and then when I want to buy something like a Bitcoin, they will match someone who also wants to sell Bitcoin, and then they'll take a fee, right? And then the money disappears, right? Like they don't do anything with the money. But what this article was saying is that they were actually doing something with the article. Money?
So no. So this is this is early on, right? This is before. This actually isn't technically related to FTX. This is technically Alameda Research, which is a separate company, trading firm
ran by.
This is a trading firm, right?
Okay.
So this is like the equivalent of a subsidiary or other related thing to the bank or the trading. But basically, this called into question the like liquidity and like funding, basically undisclosed leverage is the term, and financial solvency. So this is like the smoke, as in this Alameda Research company is looking sketchy just in general.
Gotcha.
And it's also run by the same guy. So that's like the very first sign of warning. This would be like if Enron had a subsidiary called Twitter, and Twitter was just investing money, like it was, a subsidiary is doing some sketchy things.
So here's the smoke, right? I'm trying to
exactly. This is the smoke. And this is early on. People are like, "Hey, what's going on with Alameda Research? They have no real money, and the company's basically made up."
Because he's tied with the CEO of FTX. That's where the association became, right?
Well, it's the same CEO.
Okay,
it's the same.
So actually, Alameda has a female CEO. And she is tied to Sam on the back.
Okay.
So
he ran the firm according to the article, but I don't know.
I guess the reason I'm asking, I just want to get like the most context to where the smoke came from, because there's so much more that comes after this.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically,
I'm curious.
And so at some point here, right around this same timeline, I don't know what the words were that were said, but apparently some bad mouthing about Binance came from FTX. And so
on Twitter,
CZ, right? The owner of Binance was like, all right, well, whatever, I'll dump all my FTT tokens.
Okay.
He's like, well, first off, you got this Alameda stuff, and you're maybe talking
so
crap.
Basically public opinion.
Wasn't this on Twitter, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, people are like, hey, this is kind of sketchy. This is similar to like when everyone found out that like if you were buying GME on Robinhood, you actually weren't buying GME. You were just buying like a number in a database,
They
basically.
actually couldn't give you the stock. They were just giving you an IOU for the stock because they had shorted more
exactly.
Than was available.
It's like that. And then also if the CEO of GME had been like, I'm selling all my Robinhood stock, like like basically that like Bo said, that public, it's calling things into question in a public space, which is like, that's how these kinds of crises start. So there's a public perception of like something's funny, and then people start.
And then Binance publicly is like, I'm gonna sell my FTX, right? Is that
this is the CEO, just the CEO.
No, that's what I'm saying. The CEO of Binance is like, I don't trust you, I'm gonna sell it.
So Binance has been around a long time, right? They were around way before FTX, and apparently CZ invested early on in FTX a lot, like a metric crap ton.
23 million FTT tokens is how many Binance held.
And he's held these, right? So which was worth about $529 million, right?
Okay.
And he's like, all right,
we're
I'm
selling.
Dump them.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that immediately tanked the FTT token market, right?
Okay.
That's a huge chunk of the overall.
It was the
market.
And he didn't even have to sell them, right? Like just saying that he was going to sell them, everyone's like freaking out, like, oh, well, if somebody's going to dump 529 million, I better go sell.
The price is going to tank.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, it's like if Elon was like, I'm selling all my Tesla stock, it would be insane.
Yeah. So he sells, and that creates some market instability.
He didn't sell though. He said he might sell.
He said he might sell, but he didn't sell any of them.
He announced that he would sell his entire position.
All right. Yeah.
So they basically said Binance is getting it's totally Elon Musk saying you're going to do something, getting fined by the SEC.
It tanks the token.
Right.
Yeah. So by the next day. So what that did is so FTT is the trading token for FTX.
Yeah. That's like
because
if you get
the price
return if you get the token based off the money that they make off the trading platform, right?
I think it's the liquid token versus the stable coin or stable token.
Yeah, and so with the price tanking of the token, that created a liquidity crisis for FTX.
Okay.
And so now they're like freaking out because they're not gonna be able to actually pay out like
when everyone comes asking for their.
So yeah, to give you the idea of also to set the stage for this, the cryptocurrency market right now in general is doing poorly, and people are ready, like in just the global economy. It's not even just cryptocurrency. People are ready to sell at the tip of a hat. People are primed and like just ready. So when they announced it, he announced he would sell a position worth $529 million. By the next day, people tried to withdraw $6 billion.
How would you not see that coming?
That's a lot. Oh my!
You were sitting in your Lambo and it has bad visibility. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so all these customers trying to pull out their tokens.
Right. It's a run on the bank. It's a run.
So the FTT token value fell by 80% in 2 days. Okay, so massive crash. And then on November 8th, a ray of sunshine from the sky comes down. Binance announces that they are going to acquire FTX and bail them out of this predicament.
I heard it was a kind of a non-binding verbal agreement.
Yeah, it's just like Twitter and Elon Musk, him being like, I'm gonna buy you. Are you cool with that? And they're like, nah, we'll talk to lawyers.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember like watching this happen on Twitter, and people were like, well, that's interesting. And then the next day, Binance cancels it. They're like, maybe not.
Probably a bad idea.
So the liquidity crisis is still happening. And Bankman-Fried is trying to run damage control and being like, no, the money's there. I swear. It's all good.
It's just in apes. It's all apes.
It's invested. It's not in my lake house. It's somewhere else. So they backed out a day later. And
they read the books
and
they were like, I don't like this. And
this is where the smoke gets some nice orange flames to go with it.
Okay.
So yeah, they backed out. Why did they back out?
So apparently it was like during due diligence, right? They found, I guess, apparently some mishandling of customer funds, some concerns, right?
We have some concerns.
Around the numbers, around the books, right?
Right. And mainly customer funds. This isn't like, oh, you shouldn't have bought this corporate office in Miami that cost $20 million. This is like, where's your customer's money?
Mm-hmm. And so on November 10th, the Bahamas securities regulator froze the assets of FTX digital markets. And that, I mean, same day, California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation announced that it had initiated an investigation into FTX. Bankman-Fried apologizes same day for the liquidity crisis and admitted on Twitter that FTX's non-U.S. exchange had insufficient funds to meet customer demands. And he quote unquote said that they had poor internal labeling. So whatever that means.
Yeah, the label.
They basically, so stuff that wasn't backed, they labeled it as like being liquid, even though it wasn't.
It smells like 2008 in here. It's almost like if you label a totally piece of crap bond as a AAA bond, it's gonna go, you're
gonna look
face
real
up.
good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the fire really comes out, because I believe at the same time Binance announced that there was also active investigations from U.S. like agencies like trade commissions or FCC or FTC or whoever, right? Is that correct? So not only did they say like you guys are mishandling funds, they also like said you're actively being investigated. So, and then lots of other people announced investigations of FTX.
I think Binance also said that in their due diligence, they said that they found some discrepancies with the numbers and that there was an active investigation going on.
So basically, also at the same time, they called down Alameda. Like they basically just shut down that entire company. So, and then
Bankman steps down.
Yeah.
After they file for bankruptcy, it was like all in like one day. It felt like, and then what happens?
They hire the Enron guy.
Coming in hot.
Dude, imagine being the guy they call when the company goes bankrupt. Like you'd be like, I'm flattered, but really, am I the guy? I'm just the damage control guy.
He's the guy that gracefully controls the sinking of the ship.
Yeah, he's like,
Right,
all right,
which
you
is impossible
lifeguard
to do.
or
Lifeguard
or whatever. Go over there. Someone's drowning. Okay, go over there. Like that's his specialty.
So Bankman's out. This place is filing Chapter 11. Then what happened, Bo?
So then some mystery comes in, right? So within hours of filing for bankruptcy, FTX said it was the victim of unauthorized transactions.
We've been hacked. We've been hacked.
So this is still, I think, kind of being investigated.
Yeah, so this is interesting because I found
just smells like a rug. I feel on a rug here. Did someone see a rug?
Well, so what day was this that they said that FTX says the company strongly advises against depositing? I don't remember what day that was. But basically everybody thought it was a hack, right? Somebody was transferring, what was it, 400 million, 500 million?
400, yeah.
Yeah, out of the exchange when it was supposedly frozen. But a later article, and I think we have that here somewhere, states that movement of funds was potentially the Bahamian government responsible for that transfer.
Bahamian government. Interesting.
So I thought it was an insider threat. I thought it was like,
I know that's
the thing,
though. So they said that, and then they come back and say later that no, it was the Bahamas that made us do it.
I mean, when a ship's sinking in front of you, you're like, what? Where's that other hole coming from? Why is there more water going in? But the ship's already sinking, so it's like it's chaos.
Here, Ryan, pull this tweet up that I just posted in the chat. So the Bahamian government posted a media release that is basically addressing the control of assets of FTX. So Nassau, the Bahamas, let's see, on November 12th, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas, in the exercise of its powers as regulator acting under the authority of an order, took the action of directing the transfer of all digital assets of FTX to a digital wallet controlled by the Commission for Safekeeping.
Commission for Safekeeping.
So the best part about this to me is that you can watch them trying to do their thing on the blockchain and like see that they're just really bad at it. Like people were following it because they thought it was a hack, but then apparently they kept trying to transfer money and didn't have enough TRX, the Tron network token, to transfer the funds. Like it's like, okay, I don't want to be like mean to other governments because the US government has no idea what they're doing with crypto. They seized a guy's wallet and didn't keep his seed phrase or change it. Like the US government is not perfect, but like it is funny to imagine like the Bahamas are just sitting around drinking like, you know, fancy drinks with umbrellas in them. And then they're like, oh, we got to seize cryptocurrency. Like, I know that isn't how it is, but like in my head, they're just like on the beach in the Bahamas. Like
with some Kalik.
They're like, oh, all these people have been putting all these banks here for years. We should probably like get some real financial like people. And then, you know, they just turns out it's just some poor guy on like a Lenovo ThinkPad, whatever, from 1990 being like, how do we transfer the Tron? I don't know how cryptocurrency works. I'm how do I get TRX? Does anyone know? Does anyone have any TRX? Like,
so yeah, well, and now, so how does this play out, right? Like, how did this actual transaction play out, like verbally, right? Like, is it like what you just said? Like, it's the government. They're like, well, we're gonna have to protect those funds. And then they like, what do they do? Like call up somebody at FTX. They're like, hey, send all that stuff to us. Like, how does that even happen? Like, did they have access to it?
I would assume it's law enforcement. I'm assuming they're like compelling. They're using law enforcement to say you need to provide us with your assets.
Who hit send? Yeah, who hit send on it? Did they give them the private keys and say, here, you guys do it? Or is it say, hey, Sam, transfer the funds to these addresses now?
So
it seems like there's a lot of potential for mishaps there.
Yeah. It's such a quick turnaround timeline.
So yeah, based on so it basically said they used their regulatory powers to pursue the assets of the clients or the interest of the clients. They expect, you know, to put supervisory control. It's just like they're basically using law enforcement to say like you are, you know, it's almost like asset seizure. It's like, hey,
it makes you wonder though. Like, I mean, are they using like a hardware wallet, or is this like $400 million sitting in like a MetaMask extension somewhere?
So here's the dirty details. The Bahamas, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas, applied to the Supreme Court to appoint Mr. Brian Sims, KC, as a court-supervised provisional liquidator. I don't know what MESSRS, Kevin Cambridge and Peter Graves of PwC, an American company, were approved by the court as joint provisional liquidators. PricewaterhouseCoopers, yeah.
Yep.
So like they basically go out and they say, we need a liquidator. It's like the guy from the. It's like the guy. It's like
lines in.
Liquid. Yeah, really. Yeah. So basically,
he like opens up a coat and he's got like ledgers and treasures.
He's got like GPUs in there just in case. Yeah, I mean, like it's. I guess it's interesting. First of all, that they hired a liquidator from PwC that does cryptocurrency, or apparently maybe not. But it's also like interesting that the liquidator didn't seem to know how to do this. And I don't really blame them because like if I walked into a room and said, okay, you have 400 million in Tron, how do you get it to like, how do you seize this? Like, it's not that easy, or like it can be complicated to like liquidity and like fees and all that stuff. But it is funny to just imagine some like traditional finance guy with a suit and tie on being like, how does the wallet work? Like,
yeah, he like just literally installs MetaMask plugin. Like, okay, send here.
The computer.
He's like, okay, read me the address. Where am I?
What did I do with that seed phrase? I don't know, what was that thing I was supposed to write down?
Yeah, I mean,
write it down twice. Oh God, I knew it.
So eventually, I guess theoretically, they were able to successfully seize the money, which looked like a hack, but wasn't actually a hack, and so. I will say, like, what do you guys think about the Bahamas actually stepping in to try to protect consumer interests? Like, I feel like, is this new? Because I feel like all the times in the past where the Bahamas have been involved, it's totally been in the interest of rich people and screwing over the average Joe. So, like, are they trying to turn over a new leaf here? Are they trying to make themselves look legit? I don't know.
Well, I think the company was based in the Bahamas, right? I mean,
Yeah, but that's normal. Like, I feel like it's if you're basing a company in the Bahamas, it's because they'll listen to you more than they will your consumer, right? Like it's like Panama Papers or any of that stuff. Like, the whole idea of it, to do it in the Bahamas is so that you have that, like, because in the U.S., if you host it here or if it's all based here, the FBI or CIA or FTC or whoever is just going to seize the assets immediately. So, but they did it anyway. They basically followed a similar playbook that the U.S. government would follow, which is to, take the money and then figure out how to allocate it fairly later. So, I don't know. It is kind of interesting. Like, maybe they're trying to make themselves as like a reputable crypto trading like location. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah.
So there was a ripple effect.
Yeah, I think this is like in and of itself like a very interesting thing that happened, right? So you have this major exchange, the downfall happens, and then there's a ton of other companies, a ton of other people, other organizations that are affected by this, right? And it's funny because like we on Discord. Steve messages us and he's like, "Hey, I'm actually affected by the FTX hack now," and is one of the companies, and we'll cover a few of those here in a second. So first up, BlockFi, like major company. On November 14th, they admitted to having significant exposure to FTX and its affiliated companies, but insisted it had the necessary liquidity to explore all options. I don't know. The last time I looked at this, I think they had mentioned the word bankruptcy in there somewhere.
They're like, we're bankrupt, but we have all the money. Don't worry. Like
So that's one.
So they had a $400 million line of credit from FTX. Well, that line's out.
Right. Well, yeah, it's the question of like how much did they leverage that line of credit? I mean, I'm assuming they didn't just pull 400 mil and leave it in a bank account. So
Salt lending in the upcoming weeks, I don't want to read that.
They halted trading though. They paused withdrawal. The key is whether they pause withdrawals and deposits, because that is basically saying we don't have your money at the moment.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me go look for it.
Yeah, so they halted it due to the collapse of FTX because it did affect their business. Until we were able to determine the extent of this impact with specific details that we feel confident and factually accurate, we have paused deposits and withdrawals on the Salt platform immediately.
I will say, like, to be honest, this one, for some reason, doesn't seem like that. That doesn't seem like BS, like smoke and mirrors to me, because I will say, like, there is an element of like bookkeeping where you're like, how much exposure do we have to FTX? In what way are we? How is this actually? Because all this stuff is like crazy complex. So there might be cases where some of these companies realize, like the company that had the $400 million loan, if they were fully leveraging that loan, that's gone. But like, there are lots of like ways that it can weave together and not lead to bankruptcy. So, and there was another one too, Liquid Global Exchange. Even like, what was it? I got an email from Gemini.
Yeah,
that was because of Liquid Global.
Okay.
Was it? So
yeah.
there's a link.
So Gemini didn't invest directly into FTX.
So this isn't Gemini the wallet. This is Gemini Earn, which is like a subset of Gemini, which is like their staking platform, or their like earning.
Leverage their earning platform, right? You deposit into it and then you earn a percentage back. So they used another platform, Genesis.
Right. Yeah. They used.
Yep, Genesis to do that program for them. Well, Genesis in part then used FTX on the back end. So it's like Bo was saying, like how deep do you have to go in your due diligence? Like, hey, where are you storing our funds? Where's the person you're storing our funds, right?
Well, yeah, and these other companies were investing in each other, and then that's where kind of like the house of cards comes in, where everyone like had all these like, as Bo said, ripple effects, right? Because they invested in some other company, or they took out a loan with something else, and it happens to be related to FTX. Maybe it's another company that's related to FTX, and since
Yeah. The other thing I heard is that there's a lot of like apparently high profile individuals, high net worth individuals, whatever, that had money in FTX or backed FTX in some way.
I mean, there was like commercials, there was all kinds of stuff, right? And
what about
those people are actually getting sued.
They're
getting sued.
Gotta think about
those poor celebrities. What's Elon going to do? Is he going to
Tom Brady?
Yeah, Tom Brady. All his funds were on FTX.
Wow,
Poor Tom Brady.
that's pretty funny.
I don't know. Maybe they were. But
Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll just have to follow along with the ripple effect as it plays out. I mean, theoretically, like, to speculate, let's get into the part of the show where we just rampantly speculate about stuff.
That's what we love to do.
Like, theoretically, if the Bahamian government seized everything FTX had, I mean, obviously, I don't think the numbers are going to add up completely. Like, it's not like FTX. Obviously, the problem was they didn't have enough money to cover the transactions and to cover the liquidity. But what, like, how much did they ever announce how much they seized? How, like, do we know how much assets the Bahamian government is handling right now? It says in the range of $10 to $50 billion. Like,
well, I think what we've only seen what was transferred off the exchange and those quote unquote
right,
hacks
which was
that were identified as the Bahamian.
So that was
so
like
I don't know if
400
there were
mil.
other moves that they didn't see.
So the bankruptcy filings say that FTX had assets in the range of 10 to 50 billion, which is a big range, and also liabilities in the range of 10 to 50 billion. So depending on where those two numbers actually end up,
Right.
depending on where like they could have 50 million in liabilities and 10 billion in assets, and then you have, 40 billion that there's just missing. Or it could be the other way around, where they have 50 billion in assets and only 10 in liabilities. So, like, we'll see, but we know the Bahamian government has 400 mil, so hopefully that doesn't just all go to Tom Brady.
Well, so I posted another link in the chat there. So apparently there's already a lawsuit filed against FTX and promoters, including Tom Brady and Shaq.
Yeah.
So these are people who promoted this in commercials or other things, which, like, obviously there's no way the contract had any liability for them in that. Like, if they would have done a gig where they advertised something and had liability for it, they would be screwed.
No way. Yeah.
So you think Bankman's going to do any jail time for this, or?
I mean, only one guy did jail time in 2008, and they crashed the entire U.S. economy. So, if they're smart enough to get the same lawyers, probably not. But I will say
he should. I
Yeah.
think this was blatant misuse of other people's funds. Like, he
I
literally was like stealing money from FTX
I think
to send it to
depending-
Alameda to, like, look, hey, can we make money on Bored Apes? I don't know. Let's spend $1 billion and see.
I saw
Yeah,
somebody
so-
tweeted something kind of funny this morning. I don't remember who tweeted it, but they were basically saying, like, you've got this guy who crashed this market, obviously did, like, blatant mishandling of funds, and, like, now everyone's screwed, who is free and not in jail. And then on the other hand, you have a guy who coded a piece of code that's on GitHub and is in jail for, Tornado Cash. Like,
Yeah.
he wrote an app and is in jail.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because it's funny how the justice system works. A lot of the times it depends. First of all, it depends on the legal, like, lawyers and all that. Like, if this guy has enough assets to get the lawyer, whoever defended, like, Merrill Lynch, if he can get those lawyers, he'll probably get off scot-free. But also, it's like, part of it depends on how you react to these kinds of things. Like, do you try to get the people their money back? Like, that's where
his attorneys had to be freaking out when he was tweeting over the last couple days. Basically,
you just can't
no, it
hold
was this.
back.
I was labeling things like this. He was basically telling people how he was mishandling money.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they can't resist that little blue, checkbox. But, like, I mean, I think how sentencing, like, criminal aspect of it, we'll see. I mean, I think this is pretty basic. Like, this is like a Ponzi scheme, right? It's like, we have your money. Oh, no, we don't. Like, that is crime, like, very clearly.
So will we ever get our money back?
Well, so the Bahamian government seized 400 mil. So I'm not sure what the total assets were, but that is, like, a decent amount to give out.
But that's what I lost individually.
I was just going to say that's just one.
That's just Tom Brady. So yeah, I mean,
One
that's the question. We don't know, but I think when it comes down to criminal charges, it's going to depend on how, like, was he doing Madoff type of things, like buying huge mansions and yachts and stuff, or was it more just like an actual just stupidity? Was it seriously just like, oh, I flew too close to the sun and I'm sorry, and here's all the money? Like,
but you should know better than to fly too close to the sun, right? So how far does stupidity get you?
Yeah, basically, I'd be shocked if he gets anything more than, like, suspended 5-year sentence.
I would too, but I hope for our sake of things that
so
this doesn't happen again.
The title should
read
read
some sort of.
Well, it's decentralized, man. That's the whole selling point. That's what crypto's supposed to be, is decentralized.
Yeah, this wasn't.
So you're advocating for regulation, Steve?
Yes,
this
actually,
is probably
I would
the
love some
biggest.
regulation.
this is the biggest hack I think we've seen so far, man. I mean, Bankman hacked everybody else and took their money.
I mean, that's
Probably gonna
kind
get
of
away with it.
true.
Legendary con.
We don't know how big it is. We don't know where the money went. We don't know,
Yeah.
like, the whole 10 to 50 billion thing is a big question mark. That's like
All
where,
the numbers are made up, and they probably only matter to you.
yeah. So we'll see. I mean, does anyone know, like, is this Bankman-Fried guy known for like conspicuous consumption? Is he like tweeting it in Dubai, like with 15 Lambos, or like, is he more of just...
He's
Bahamas.
Yeah, he's in
He
the
spends it
Bahamas.
all on hair products. That's all I
Hair
know.
products.
But
Actually,
the
there was-
Bahamas have got to
was
be
some-
not that. Are they that expensive? I feel like there's, I don't know.
Well, when you own an island, probably.
There were some
Don't
people
trust
tracking
crypto
his
bros.
personal plane on Twitter.
Yeah, that was a
Um,
fun thing to follow, right? When they were
Yeah.
tracking him.
Yeah,
playing
that
flying
I'm
happened.
to
not
Argentina.
running. I'm not
Yeah.
running.
I'm not running. I'm just going home to Bahamas where no one else lives.
No one
Right.
else lives.
Yeah,
He's
so-
probably gonna be living in poverty for the rest of his life after this. What do you guys think?
Maybe, but
I don't know. He donated to enough people over time.
No,
He's
he's
probably
gonna
got
be
some-
Tom
living
Brady will throw him a
luxury.
bone.
Yeah, yeah.
Luxury.
Right, you'll throw him a bone.
No, I think you're right. I think that like there's basically no way out of this, especially the fact that he's just tweeting like, "Yeah, it was me. It was me. I did it." Like, you know, that's gonna be rough. But
So we'll probably be talking about this one for I don't know, months.
Yeah, because somebody else is gonna be like, yeah, I guess we were involved in FTX too, so we had to shut down. But they
and
haven't
you
said
know,
it yet.
maybe we'll find out that I don't know, like whatever happened to the actual money that the Bahamian government took. You know, that'll be interesting to follow up on.
yeah, I mean, the
5 years
Bahamian
later.
government seized a bunch, not to mention the U.S. government is involved as well, right? Because there's all kinds of bankruptcy filings and.
Mhm. Which, by the way, would be
Like-
super fun because it'll all have to be public, so I can't wait.
Mm.
It'll be interesting
Well,
to see how far this goes compared to like John McAfee, who was similar, right? They were SEC was after him and stuff like that. But they were chasing
I
him,
think
like,
he's already,
apparently all
like-
over the place. Is this guy going to be on the run like that, or is he just going to chill out and then?
I think
Or
he's
is that
already
get
in
off?
custody. I would assume.
He's
I
already
mean,
in custody, yeah.
He's in Texas.
Yeah, I think
What?
he's
No.
done.
You don't remember at the end of the documentary, he called up his ex-wife, I think,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
McAfee's back in
allegedly,
Texas.
right?
Still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw him on Twitter. He just has. It was a blue check mark. It was definitely him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Bankman is not as insane as McAfee. I think that it's mostly just I can't tell. I think he's like legitimately just in over his head. That's my take on it. Is like I don't think this. I haven't looked into the guy personally, but to me it seems like it's just a lot of people told him to do things like, oh yeah, dude, it'll be fine. Like you're at the country club hitting the back nine and some guy's like, oh dude, you haven't over leveraged your assets. Allow me to explain how you can double your profits and have no additional risk. And he's like, all right. And then he just totally, burned up. That's my interpretation of it is like, they weren't trying to do anything bad. It was more like not understanding the ramifications of like the liquidity and understanding like how you have to cover your bets and all that stuff. I mean, it's basic common sense to think, but like as long as the numbers go up, it's all okay, right? Until they don't, and then it's classic. I mean, this happened in traditional finance so many times. So I don't know. We'll see.
I will say the one thing in comparatively to traditional finance is there was no what do you call it, FDIC to like come in and be like, hey, so we'll back you for a certain amount of money. Insurance. There's no insurance in this game, right? It's like
Correct.
you're putting money in
But
what you would
have-
call a
To
bank.
be fair, though, FDIC didn't cover anyone in 08. So it doesn't like FDIC is a very limited.
Yeah, no. I get it. I'm just saying like the run on the bank idea, right? If like there was an actual run on the bank, because what you were talking about, Corey, people weren't getting their money taken out of their bank account and just, because the bank closed, right?
But a lot of it's a similar vehicle, dude. If you had your money invested in Merrill Lynch, what happened to it?
Well,
Right.
you took a risk, right?
Or
And I think that's the
like
point.
or Bear Stearns or whatever. Like you know what I mean?
My point is, if you have your money on any crypto exchange, consider that a stock, right? Because there's no one to
Guarantee
back
of
that up.
future value, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just guarantee of future value, because you look in there and you have 1,000 USD. It's $1. It's supposed to be stable. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. what I'm saying is that entity may not have the money, and there's no one who's going to come bail them out.
Yeah, exactly. The people who invested in those tranches, like in '08, like to go back to that, the people who were invested, like the firms or people that were invested in the like AAA backed, mortgage backed securities that ended up going to zero because everything exploded. Those people didn't get their money back. This is equivalent to that. The other thing that's more akin to like it's not at all related to a bank account is how other companies are using FTX as lines of credit. Like that is very similar to like the Merrill Lynch, Bear Stearns, whatever, like the big financial firms that got tanked. Because you have companies that went to FTX and said, "Hey, we're looking to set up a trading platform. Can you help?" Yes, we're going to provide X amount of assets, X amount of tokens. Here's the platform, all that. It's not like the consumer is completely obfuscated from that whole process. It's the companies that are liable for that, and there is no insurance. There is no. My
bigger point, I guess, to kind of close it out, is that if you are investing in any exchange, it doesn't matter if it's Coinbase or what. Or when I say investing, like utilizing these exchanges, right?
If your money is held in an exchange, it is not actually your money.
Exactly. And whenever someone talks about how decentralized cryptocurrency is, right? When you have it on exchange, you are using it.
You are centralized.
Centralized.
You are not decentralized.
You are not decentralizing.
However, in this case, it doesn't really matter because if you had FTT, it's probably worthless whether or not it was in your wallet or not.
Yes. So that's a different thing. I'm just saying that, the token itself changed in value, right? That was like a stock. That was the risk of
it. Will hit people in many ways.
Yes.
But it will hit people not only in just not your keys, not your crypto, because some people will have their assets just be wiped out. Others will have their assets in their own wallets or on their own control and will have the value basically wiped out because the coin goes to zero.
There's going to be FTX users who had in their account a dollar amount because it was not invested in FTX token. It wasn't invested. It was just a sitting there.
And it's not their keys, so not their crypto.
Oh, no. It's not even crypto. It's like whatever. It's like when you put money into an exchange, like you have $1,000.
You're saying US dollars, like
US dollars, and they're like, you could use that to buy crypto, or we'll give you back the money. That's gone too, right? And that's the bank thing that I'm trying to get at, right? They don't cover that. That supposed, So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic old adage of investing in general, which is don't invest any money you're not willing to risk or potentially lose. And also, that's the traditional
advice. Oh yeah.
This isn't financial advice, but also not your keys, not your crypto.
Only invest all the money you want to lose.
Yeah. Exactly. And the old crypto adage of not your keys, not your crypto is still true. And that's true for companies too. Yeah. This isn't just a person. If you are a company and your entire trading platform is based on another company's exchange, it's not your money. And it's not your customer's money. It's someone else's money. So keep that in mind because the Bahamian government can take that wallet and say, this is ours now.
So, and to connect this with the next story. Sometimes exchanges send $400 million of your money in the wrong place on accident. Seriously, imagine that. Imagine you work at an exchange and you click the button to send $400 million and you put it to the wrong address.
So does the gas fee come out of their salary? Is that how this works? Because that's a lot of gas.
I guess it depends on what crypto it was, right?
It was ETH. So
all right. So totally rumor is that, all right. So not to bring it back to FTX.
I mean, I don't know if it's a rumor, but it's on the blockchain.
No. You'll hear what I'm saying. So when FTX collapsed, a lot of other big exchanges everyone was like, well, do you have our money? Like Coinbase, hey, are you guys good? And everyone's like, yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Look, we got the papers, right? And there was a rumor that possibly this was like hey, look, make your books look good real quick. All right, and then send the money back, right? Now,
okay, so
whether that's true or not,
that's totally conspiracy theory. But
conspiracy theories announced, right?
All right, so this is crypto.com we're talking about, by the way. So
crypto.com,
another major site, right? They accidentally sent over $400 million to another cryptocurrency exchange.
Why would an exchange send that much money to another exchange to maybe not show that they had the money?
Make Gate.io's books like that.
So it's pretty funny because the Gate.io, the recipient, said basically that this deposit triggered their automated protections for risk. like this triggered their alerts for like malicious deposits and was intercepted by their risk control system. And then they were like, hey, did you mean to do this? And they were like, no. And so they just sent it back.
How does that even happen?
ETH addresses are long and someone read one over the phone. I don't know.
I will say like that's how I get my whenever I need to send I literally
send me
have
your
to read it
Bitcoin
out
address.
loud
Let's
to
see.
read me it to me. Charlie Alpha.
Fox.
Yeah, no, I can't. I would get. I mean, I will say not to buy into the conspiracy theories, but Gate.io wasn't the only one questioning this. The user expressed curiosity as to why crypto would send 82% of their Ethereum anywhere. Like, why would what company is like, you know what? Let's just send 82% of our assets to any
Maybe
other.
they
entity.
meant to put it to their cold wallet.
Yeah, I
in the
think
drop
that's
down list of which wallet it goes into.
Yeah, when you
I
make wallet
think-
addresses, they're actually sequential, right?
I
And
think that's what
the number.
sequential. I think that's basically what it was. If I hope that's like the legitimate explanation for it would be that it's just moving assets from a hot wallet to a cold wallet or from here to there within a company. Like it's still crypto.com's money, but they're moving it internally to a different wallet. But I mean, it is Ralph's conspiracy theory is possible where they're basically sending, but I feel like they wouldn't bother with that because it's so transparent. It's on the blockchain. Like everyone can be like, you don't have the money. You just got this from crypto.com.
Yeah, because we have a line of credit.
But it is funny. Like this is the classic thing of the cryptocurrency world, which is we can watch the money moving around, but we can't always attribute who it is. We can't always say like, this is crypto.com's cold wallet until the CEO says, here's our cold wallet. And then it's like, well, now we can watch everything you're doing. So,
Well, so they got it back, which is good.
like I said, did the gas come out of their paycheck?
Yeah,
It's
who
like,
paid the gas?
all right, the
I bet you-
50 million in gas is coming out of your paycheck.
Yeah, that's. I mean, so the thing that's funny though is like it doesn't matter how much you send, the gas doesn't change.
Yeah.
So
It wouldn't
I
be
guess
that
it
bad.
was it just one
for like
transaction?
$10 in gas.
Was it seriously just one transaction, 400 mil?
I mean, I don't know. That might be worth looking up. That'd be
like that's what I assumed it was split up, but it'd be pretty funny if it was just one transaction. Like they didn't even do a test transaction. They're like 400 mil, you got it? Oh no, okay,
it.
we're going out of business.
Well, shouldn't have used sequential Ethernet addresses.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
All right, moving on. So the next one is Deribit Hot Wallet Compromise, $28 million stolen. So crypto
what's
exchange Deribit stopped accepting withdrawals after a hot wallet attack in which hackers made off with $28 million in stolen funds, $28 million in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Circle's USDC.
Don't worry, client funds are safe. Loss is
They're safe.
assured. Loss is covered by company reserves, which hopefully weren't in FTX.
Oh, wayo. This company's based out of Panama City, Panama.
Is it really?
Yep.
Oof. But don't worry, they have your money.
Client assets,
I didn't
Fireblock.
see how or any indication of, the behind the scenes what happened for this hot wallet attack though. Unless you
I'm not sure.
I didn't see any specifics, which most of the time they don't come out with how it was done, so it was not done again. But
They say that
Hot
it's
wallet.
company procedure to keep 99% of their user funds in a cold storage.
That's
Limited.
got to be BS. That would imply that they
Gross.
have like
Yeah.
whatever a 99 times $28 million in assets. That seems like a made up number.
Yeah.
Like seriously, they have whatever 99. Like if $28 million is 1% of their funds, they would be like a multi-billion-dollar firm.
$2.7 billion.
So do you really think that Deribit has 2.7 billion? Maybe.
I mean, apparently FTX only had 10 to 50, right?
True.
it's a wide range of ifs in there.
Yeah. Its hack is isolated and quarantined to only our BTC, ETH, and USDC hot wallets.
Yeah, so
Only
that's
the
what I'm
big
saying.
three.
Like, how do they know that? So somebody had seed phrases for multiple wallets, or had access to the dashboard or whatever that can
They might maybe those wallets weren't multi-sig wallets, and the key got popped, or someone's workstation got popped and had
Probably
the
somebody's
keys.
workstation. Yeah. So typically, I'd lean towards this is somebody got phished.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but maybe only those wallets aren't multi-sig, possibly. I don't know.
It could be.
We're speculating. I don't think there's like a wrecked.
This would be a good time for rug pulls, though. Oh, we just lost it all in FTX.
But they're saying it's covered. They're not like they didn't do like rug pull requires you to like, first of all be pseudonymous, second of all pull the money, and then third of all disappear. And they didn't do 1 or 3, so
they're going for the long con.
They're going for the long con.
And apparently the Deribit hackers have moved the stolen ETH through Tornado at this point.
Woo!
Oh,
well, why would they do that? They can't use it anymore.
Well, they can't use it.
They can.
They can't use it in sanctioned areas, but they can use it anywhere else. Probably Panama. Do you think Panama has restrictions on Tornado Cash? Probably not.
I don't know. Let's look at the Panama Papers.
Yeah, I was trying to. So the funds were transferred in 17 transactions, with the first outgoing transaction occurring November 5th, just a few days after the hack. All right. Well, moving on.
Onward and upward, maybe skyward.
Skyward Finance hack, $3 million. Skyward Finance, a platform that looks into token distribution for projects on the Near protocol, was hit with a $3 million attack. So about 1.1 million Near tokens were reportedly drained from the project, according to the series of tweets on the exploit. Ref Finance, a community-led multi-purpose DeFi platform built on the Near protocol, and the Skyward team have been notified of the drain.
They're draining our wallets, man.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find if they have any like technical input on like what actually happened here.
They should redo hackers. And
I think it's
in it.
I think it's price manipulation.
The Gibson coin.
I'm not 100% on this, but just reading it seems like price manipulation because it says the exploiter reportedly initiated the drain by buying lots of Skyward tokens on Ref Finance, then redeemed them through Skyward Finance, where they appeared to have got lots of near than what one Skyward was worth. So it's price manipulation within the
that makes sense.
Ref Finance platform. So maybe it's a DPEG or a Oracle issue.
Okay.
Well, there's not like a deep dive on it, but it definitely seems like price manipulation somehow. It might just be a really simple one where it's like there's a discount or something on one site. They just don't update the price fast enough or something.
All right. Moving on to the last story for the day. Hacker hid $50,000 in Bitcoin. So, Steve, I think you put this one here, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what's going on? So 50,000 Bitcoin?
50,000 not in Bitcoin. 50,000 plus
actual Bitcoins.
Actual Bitcoins. Yes.
That's a lot.
So the premise behind this one is that the person who was raided for basically stealing 50,000 Bitcoins, valued at 3.36 billion at the time. So this is from the marketplace Silk Road.
This is
stemmed from the Silk Road bust, right?
This is James Zong.
Mm-hmm. And there's a picture of him. I posted
with his hired friends.
Oh, they're not hired. Come on.
They're there for fun. The best part though is the like actual pictures posted by the people who seized the funds, where it actually. So yeah, the pictures of the safe are the really where it's at. You got to go to the Twitter.
There's a Twitter one there too.
So this is a little bit let's just call it
this
fodder
actually
it's just kind of comedic.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep scrolling. So this is the individual. Keep scrolling. Interesting.
On a boat.
Yep. Just keep going. You'll know it when you see it.
Further.
You'll know when you see it.
It's a safe.
Keep
picture.
going. Keep scrolling. Sorry for audio listeners. Basically, okay, so there you go. So there's a picture of the safe, and I will describe it in detail if Ryan could click on the image. I will describe it in detail. So it is a safe built into a floor with both US dollars and some unidentified like little like canisters, yeah. And then go to the next picture. So they're in depth. This is a more detailed picture of what was seized, and there is actual physical representations of Bitcoin, like actual coins that have like the Bitcoin logo.
These are
Castaceous coins.
Yeah, Castaceous coins. They're old school. So what they did is they had the private key on it. You had to in the public key on the front. You had to actually like kind of erase it off to get, you know. So
the other thing that it's kind of. This is like, I've kind of made this up, but it just it tickles me, is like they took a picture of something that is labeled liquid and says B on it. So it's like, is it liquid Bitcoin? Like what is liquid?
You have to
Bitcoin?
drink it, and then it turns into like a private key inside your brain.
Yeah. So the funny thing looking at these pictures is that the coins themselves look so impressive, but then you see the little 2 or 3 flash drives in an SD card. That's probably where $3 billion is on an SD card. It's the tiniest little SD card, and it's probably $3 billion in assets. Like that's the world we live in, where like there's no giant stack of cash. It's just an SD card.
Mattress full of cash.
This guy knows how to hodl, man. He freaking held on to these coins since the bear market in 2012, all the forks. I mean, like, it's ridiculous.
Well, that probably is because he knows that if he starts...
Didn't he sell, like, Bitcoin Cash? I think he dumped, didn't he? Didn't he dump Bitcoin Cash for Bitcoin?
I don't know.
Yeah, but only like 600K. Like,
yeah, if you want to read the...
only 600K.
The thread on
he had
Twitter
3
goes
bill.
in
He had
deep
3
detail.
billion. That's...
Well, that's
3
modern
billion?
day. That's today. Like back when Bitcoin Cash came out, it was probably a lot less.
Yeah. So so basically, part of it is the cynicism of the U.S. government is the only ones that are allowed to steal from criminals. If a person were to steal these funds, they would be prosecuted. So, but yeah,
So
it was basically taken.
What it sounds like, and feel free to read more into this because he actually goes a bit into the actual discovery files for like why he was, but. The U.S. government, the long or the really, really short version of this is the U.S. government connected these coins with Silk Road, okay? And they seized everything he had, whether those coins were connected with Silk Road or not. It didn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
They like literally
Classic.
They saw
it's civil asset forfeiture. It's just
civil asset forfeiture of everything. Not only that, if he wants he has to spend his own money to get his money back because the government will defend. His own money has defense. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So basically, one of the interesting things is he had to give them the keys so that they could move the money to a government controlled wallet, because obviously he's not just like, he didn't just have them stored in Google Drive where they could be seized. Like, this person actually had their keys protected, so he had to give the government the keys to send all the money. You can't be
compelled to give that information, right?
I mean, he did as part of the plea deal.
You're correct. Basically hold you until you do.
The answer is you're correct, but it's like it's potentially, I'm sure his lawyers.
You're right.
Said, like,
so they
it's
can
probably
hold
worth
you
it
until there's a trial, okay, right? But they can't seize. They can't make you you can just plead the fifth, right?
Yeah, correct. But it's one of those things where if you do that your lawyer probably says don't do that because you're creating this thing where they're going to throw the book at you. So it's
I'll tell you one thing. I'll be asking the lawyer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to assume he had a lawyer. That might be not a great assumption, but I'm just going to go ahead and.
It was one of those people he was on the boat with.
Yes. Yes.
She's like, you got it. Why would she say give up the money? She'd be like, I'll take it. I'll take the funds. Let the heat be on me.
I'll take the bullet on this one.
Yeah. So
I don't know, kind of interesting, but obviously this comes back. There was another the federal government, I don't know what division here did this actual investigation, but they said that they caught him with good old-fashioned police work.
Oh, that's
just how they caught The Dread Pirate Roberts. Good old fashioned police work.
No exploits, no Tor exploits.
No. Did you guys read about the trial? It was all good old fashioned police work. It probably took them over 2 years to paint that picture, dude.
I mean, this guy, I mean, Silk Road has been collapsed for what? Almost, it's got to be close to 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And they're still closing bookcases.
So-
Ryan says he does like an old fashioned. Yep, me too.
yeah, I mean, this is part of the problem, or I guess problem, quote unquote problem with like cryptocurrency is that if once the government finds out where the funds are, you can't move them. They're stuck. It's like the government knows what bank all the money's sitting in, and they're just sitting at the doorstep waiting for someone to walk in. So it's like that's the tricky part about cryptocurrency is like,
which is why Tornado was so popular.
but that's why it's sanctioned, because it would basically mean the government can never pursue the assets, right? It's like it has to be like mixers and all that stuff. It has to be. But I mean, I will say, like, clearly he had enough to be
Unless you use that North Korean fiat exchange where you can cash out at a 90% loss.
I will say,
I mean,
to Corey's point, and a broader point, that if he was doing everything right, they didn't actually seize the crypto. He gave them that crypto.
Correct.
Right?
They seized the wallets, and he had to give them the keys to the wallets.
You can't seize a wallet. They said, we know what it is. Tell us the password or whatever.
It's pretty funny because in some ways you actually can. Like if it's a hardware wallet, and even unless I have the seed phrase, like that's the thing. Maybe he didn't know the seed phrase. I don't know. It's a lot of like potential things.
I'm just assuming that some like password in your head, right? You can't seize that, right? It's
yes, correct. But we don't know the details. But basically, we do know that he was compelled by the government, and then the funds.
How he was compelled. Yes. That's for the court.
We don't know. But he did give them the keys, and they transferred the money to a U.S. controlled Bitcoin address, which, by the way, is the same one they've always used. So it's like you can just watch like all the seizures.
They're racking it up, man.
They're racking up the cash.
They do sell coins from there too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like they seriously just have one address. They're like, nah, just use the one.
Just the one.
So that means there's one person in the government to fish to get access to all of that stuff.
It's not as bad, but it's almost as bad as like the people driving around in Hummers that were seized from cartels or whatever. Like the cops are like the cops are driving the vehicle on like because they're like, oh, and it has like a little sticker that says like this was seized from a gang or whatever. It's like how do you put a target on your back?
It is funny though, because that was cryptocurrency's number one thing. They're just going to use it for crime, and we'll never be able to catch them.
But now it's so easy 10 years later. Yeah.
No, dude. Now I think it's the opposite. I think it's easier. It'd be better to use cash. It'd be better to
who has
pile of
liquid
cash. You don't know if that thing's moving or not.
Does anyone have any liquid Bitcoin? Because I'm kind of thirsty.
Liquid Bitcoin.
I'd love a drink of that Bitcoin.
Dude, that's the new drink. I'm gonna make a drink called Liquid Bitcoin.
Comes in a gold can.
It comes in a gold can. Yeah, it's got the BitConnect guy on it, and like Bankman. Yeah.
As long as it doesn't taste like it sounds, I'm probably in.
I'm gonna make a liquid Bitcoin hot sauce, and it's called Hot Wallet.
Oh, wow! I'm in. I'm in. Let's do it.
Tune in next time for.
I got lots of money in FTX. I'll invest in that.
Awesome. Well, it's been a fun episode, guys. We're past the hour. Let's wrap things up here. We'll probably be talking about some more FTX, I imagine.
If you were involved, we're sorry.
Yeah.
Not your keys, not your crypto, but it's all going to zero right now anyway. So
that's true.
Don't feel too bad.
Bankman needs another house.
Hit that subscribe button, guys. Check the show notes for the links, and we'll catch you in another episode. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Thank you.